Good morning, everybody. Can everybody hear me? Is it fine? Yeah? Perfect. As my friend from Business Link said, my name's Poppy Collinson. I'm the Director for Europe and Central Asia with BPP University, and it's an absolute pleasure to be here today talking to you. Kiev is one of my favourite cities, and it's always a joy to have an excuse to visit. What I'm going to be talking today is about developing employability and why that's necessary in 2017. It used to be that you would finish school, maybe you would think about doing a bachelor's degree, maybe you would not, maybe you would think about doing a master's degree, maybe you would not, and jobs would be out there. But unfortunately, we know now that that's just not how the world is going. It is expected that everybody will have at least a bachelor's degree for most entry-level jobs. It is now expected that most people will have a master's degree for several entry-level jobs. And it's at the same time, students have so much pressure on them to get grades that they're unlikely to be doing Saturday jobs or part-time jobs in vacations, which is what I did when I was at school. Of the students in the room, how many of you have part-time jobs? Can I ask just to show hands? Has anyone here had a part-time job while studying? Wow, 3 people, 4 people, okay. I am obviously very, very old. But when I was young, my first job was when I was 14, and by the time I was a student, I'd worked in 8 or 9 companies. When I graduated from university, I got my first job because I was able to talk about a Saturday job where I made coffee at a train station. Those kind of skills might sound really silly to people sitting in a room who have PhDs, who have master's degrees, who have bachelors. But when employers are looking for new recruits, they're looking for people who know how to work and what's expected of them. And so we need to talk about how you get those kind of skills while still getting the kind of grades that are expected in 2017. And I think sometimes that can feel like an impossible dilemma. How do you get A's in every paper? How do you somehow manage to sleep and also get some work experience while you study? So I have some suggestions for that, but we'll start with talking about what employability skills really are. And you'll be glad to know they're not making coffee at train stations. So the traditional approach from universities has been to educate students academically only, so that universities concentrate on their rankings, they concentrate on the research that they do, their staff do, and they look at the history of their institution. At BPP University, the university I work for, we take a more modern approach. We look at who we employ. Every single member of our academic staff comes from industry. So all of our law tutors work as lawyers. Some of them still work as lawyers. Our marketing team have worked on exciting projects like launching the Sony PlayStation. We have someone who launched a private bank. We also look at our student and alumni experiences, and we work out what it is that we've done that have got them those work placements once they graduate. We also, because of our tradition and our history, which has been close to employers, we have developed our undergraduate and postgraduate degrees in close connection with industry so that we know that we've put those skills into every level of the training. Okay. Going to ask you to shout out some numbers now. So what do you think the percentage of employers would be who think when they see a new graduate that they've got a realistic expectation of what work is? Does anyone want to make a guess?
About 80.
You think 80%?
Maybe 90.
90? Wow, okay. You've seen my presentation before, I think. So 80% of employers think that graduates understand what working is. I have to say that varies vastly from industry to industry and from graduate to graduate. I've had graduate employees who've come to me on their first day of work and said, we weren't taught how to photocopy at university. I don't think I should do that. I think you should do it. Not so much. Okay. What percentage of employers do you think graduates lack interpersonal skills in order to manage others?
70.
Okay, you're really good at guessing. It's 65, so between the two. Okay, so 65% of employers don't think students have, or graduates have those kind of interpersonal skills needed. So the percentage of students who undertake a work placement, so a work experience, that results in being permanently hired, what would you think that would be? No? Sorry? 20? It's a good guess. It's actually 30%. So 30% of students who do an internship end on getting permanent work, which is paid work. The percentage of employers who think previous work experience makes students more employable. Yeah, it's 89%. And I think that figure's only skewed because there are some professions like, say, surgery, where you can't have previous work experience. I think for most jobs that people are looking for in the fields of business, law, media, any of those fields, it would be expected that you would have work experience before you turned up for your first day at work. And finally, the 3 things employers think students do not develop at university. No? Let me show you. So, diversity, a concept of people having different opinions. I don't know if you're hearing this as much in Ukraine as we are in the UK, but the social media bubble. The idea that you have friends who have the same beliefs and same opinions as you, and you're not used to being challenged by opinions outside of that. That they lack an international perspective. Now, obviously, everyone in this room has a massive advantage because if you're coming and studying in the UK and looking for work in the UK, you already have an international perspective. And then the bottom one, which I think is the most important, is business acumen. That even if you're training to be a lawyer, there are modules on business acumen. It is expected that you're commercially aware for any kind of career you go into these days. Okay. So, again, we surveyed employers to do this. We are very, very close to employers in the UK BPP University, and as that, we have a bit of an advantage. We train all the trainees for KPMG and Lloyds Bank, for example. So we spoke to them about what they want to see from their new employees. And they talked about things like business and customer awareness, self-management, teamwork, problem solving. So basically what they want is people who know how to work, helpful if you've never worked before, but also on your first day at work, understand that you're not in charge. People who can work together with a team in a hierarchy, but don't wait to be told what to do. And that seems actually quite a strong expectation on a new graduate in a new role. We are working, as are most universities, to get graduates better equipped and more work ready. What I'm going to be talking about, a lot of it I'll be linking back to our university, but what I'm telling you about should apply to every university in the UK and in Ukraine. And you should be able to ask these questions from any university you talk to. What are they doing to make you more employable while you're studying? Even if you're studying English literature, at the end of that, you will be looking for a job in some field or another. What are they building into that programme to help you achieve that? Okay, so these are some more statistics. So we go on the left side, this is the students' views. So students tend to rate their skills quite highly. So it does worry me that things like I'm not confident I understand what's required is so low. And would you like your university to provide more support? Overall, students said yes on this. And again, as I say, you can challenge universities. If you see a statistic that says 99% of our graduates are employed, ask how they've done that. Ask what it is they've done that means that 99% of their new graduates are being employed in a very challenging workplace. Okay, this is the slide I think is most interesting because this is the difference between what students and employers believe. There's one or two, I think, that are particularly interesting to pick out here. You'll see that students believe that continuous learning is really important. Employers don't care about this. You'll see that students think decision making is really important for new graduates, and you'll see employers really don't care about this. Where it's more interesting is that employers are really looking for business awareness, interpersonal skills, interdisciplinary skills, written communication, and students totally miss that this is something that's really important in the workplace. Same with analytical skills, technical skills, and oral communication. On each of those, employers are looking for something that students don't even realise that they should be providing. So I've talked about employability and work readiness to a point that probably the word employability is starting to lose its meaning the more I say it. But this is what we mean by this. We mean graduates who are confident, who are efficient, who have self-esteem and self-confidence, who are able to reflect upon and evaluate tasks they're given to do. In the example I gave of the student who told me she didn't know how to photocopy and she didn't think she should have to do that, a more sensible approach would have been for her to reflect and evaluate why she was being asked to do that, whether it was in her job description or not. Was that something that meant a project was waiting on somebody doing this and that needed to be done in that circumstance? Or was she right to refuse? Was she absolutely right that that was a waste of everybody's time? That copying didn't need to be done. That task didn't need to be done by her on that day, and there was something more useful to the business. It's about having the confidence to say, no, what you've asked me to do isn't correct in terms of the business strategy, rather than just saying, I don't want to do that. And part of that comes from knowing your degree subject, but I would assume everyone in this room is educated, you know what your degree will involve, and you will know your subject by the time you graduate. Generic skills, the soft skills which go alongside that, emotional intelligence, the experience that comes from having had jobs and life experience, and career development learning. All of these feed into, through the reflection and evaluation, into what we call employability. The good news is it can be taught. You don't have to make coffee in train stations, I promise. So we identify these as the 10 employability skills. I would say, as somebody who employs new graduates, for me, the most important ones are on the top line: problem solving, self-management, and communication. You don't need to be asking all the time. You should be able to work things out for yourself. If you can't work things out, you should communicate in a way that's clear to everybody. Team working, but also leadership. Finding the balance between being a team player and also being a leader. That's something that takes a little bit of time if you're just left to figure that out yourself, which is why it's important that these are integrated into degree programs. Business and customer understanding, application of numeracy and IT, enterprise. And then finally, professional context skills, so how you behave in the workplace. It goes back to not just refusing to work on a project, not just refusing a task, but explaining why you don't think that's the best way to do something. At BPP University, we've built those 10 career-ready skills into our bachelor's programs and into our master's programs. This is an example. So somebody who we would consider career-ready is not restricted by traditional boundaries when contributing ideas. So the most junior person in the room, if they're invited to a round table, should feel confident to speak in that room. They should feel confident to talking to people about the problem in hand. You know, you should feel confident about taking advice from more qualified people. And you should feel confident to volunteer information and new ideas. Your ideas, if backed up by evidence, are as good as anybody else's. And I think sometimes that's where new graduates fail. They're so used to university where there's a right or a wrong answer that they bring that into the workplace. And quite often in the workplace, there isn't a right or a wrong. It's getting the job done in guidance with the overriding objectives that an organisation has. So where we would say somebody isn't career ready is they allow past experience to limit their imagination. So they only work in the small bubble that they're used to. They dismiss the ideas of newcomers who bring fresh thinking, and they don't see it as their responsibility to have new ideas. Now, I would turn these two columns on their heads, and I would say the idea is that the green column should be new graduates, and the red column, I think, is what you see in people who've been in the workplace for an awfully long time. I would say I'm probably as guilty as many of saying, but we've always done it like this. That attitude is what should be challenged by graduates with work readiness skills. They should be confident to say, you've always done it that way, but you're losing money. This is why we need to do it this way. So the green column applies to everybody, not just new graduates. And the red column, even more so. It can be more of a risk for people who've been working for a long time. I'm going to now show you a very quick video about how we put this into practice. If you just bear with me.
BPP Business School is one of the 4 schools of BPP University. Our focus is to try and be particularly good at combining university degrees with professional qualifications and apprenticeships to be able to provide people with good access routes into their chosen profession. Here at the Business School, the main professions that we're interested in are the areas of accountancy, banking, finance, marketing, human resources and management in general. Our main campus is in the very centre of London. We have a fabulous facility that's right next to the world famous Gherkin in the heart of the practitioner business district of London. And we believe that that particular location is of great value to our students. We are a very close family here in London and we look after the students and we're here to support and help them in any way that we possibly can. The students you would be studying alongside are very ambitious and committed and aspirational, and we feel that that is exactly the sort of environment that will appeal to many students looking to get started in business.
My name is Jawad, I'm from Pakistan and I'm doing an MSc in Management and Finance. I chose BPP because of the professional tutor, the practical knowledge and the recognition with employers.
My name is Martina, I'm from Norway. I'm at BPP Business School studying Business Management. I chose BPP because of the good location, the diversity and the professional focus.
I'm Samir Sen from India. I'm doing my MSc Management. I chose BPP Business School because it's professional, it's fun and it's career focused.
Well, we welcome students from more than 60 countries to the business school here in London. What better place to study business, management, finance and banking than in the heart of the capital of the financial district of London? For us, the main reason they come is because of the practitioner background of our faculty. So every single one of our faculty has real first-hand experience of working in the industry that they're now teaching, so that they're literally bringing the workplace into the classroom. Our primary focus is around professionals teaching professionals, so we're creating the business professionals of the future. So the Vanta Suite is our collaborative space, and we've designed this to be very much like a business environment where we allow opportunities for students to work in small groups as well as to share their work in a larger environment.
We have a wide variety of methods with the sole objective to increase assimilation by the students and employability ultimately. These include lectures, seminars. They also include guest lectures from industry experts, and we combine this with blended learning, online virtual learning facilities and case studies. We pride ourselves in providing the skills that students need to succeed in the marketplace, in the selected profession. We are, after all, the University of the Professions, so what we are looking at is developing those skills that will help students hit the ground running when they join the companies.
My name is Kingsley. I'm from Nigeria. I'm studying international marketing. 3 reasons why I chose BPP is the culture behind the university, the enormous resources, and the CMI certification.
My name is Diana Laspriella. I'm from Colombia and I'm studying MSc International Marketing. I chose BPP Business School because of its work placement, its good academic standards, and its location.
It's a truly cosmopolitan atmosphere within our classrooms and within our school. And we believe that that is a tremendous learning advantage for all our students to be studying alongside people from different backgrounds, different traditions, and to learn to work in those international groups. This is how businesses are increasingly operating, and our students will be well prepared for the global environment in which they move into in the world of work.
So, and if you could see me smiling during that, it's because 2 of my favourite students are in the videos. It's always nice to see them. So this is how we put the employability skills into our programmes. At undergraduate level, during the first 3 years, we've split it out. So year 1 is about academic confidence. We work a lot with small project groups. I've seen students who after 3 months with us are confident presenting in front of groups of 300 people, including deans of law schools and business professionals. That academic confidence, I think, is the main thing. Once you're confident, pretty much all the rest of it falls into place. Year 2 is about self-management. There is a big jump between school and university, and I think a lot of students study with that, so the self-management skills come in here. And then in Year 3, career management, really focusing on what the career future will be and how to make that happen. So there are lots of structured learning opportunities in the class environment. It's kind of baked into everything we do. It's an overarching theme about, yes, you're doing this degree, yes, this is what you're learning along the way, but this is your end objective, and don't take your eyes off the prize. We also have a lot of guest speeches from employers who then come in and talk to students, meet with students, network with students, and explain to them what's needed. That is just kind of subliminal going through. At postgraduate level, it becomes much more deliberate. We have a separate module which is basically geared around academic and career skills, which leads to 3 interviews with employers for a real opportunity to have work experience in the UK. We can never guarantee the work experience, but we guarantee the interviews. The reason we can't guarantee the work experience is it's a real interview that has to be passed. As well as this, our university and all universities will offer a careers service. We have a specialist careers service on every campus, so the law careers service would be different to business, etc. And we encourage students from day one to go and meet with the careers service to talk to them about what they need to be doing in order 3 years later to have the CV they need when they graduate. So whether that's about making sure they do the right voluntary work, they have the right work experience, they take the right modules. It's surprising, but when there are optional modules, you need to just remind students sometimes that if you want to work in finance, take the finance modules. Make sure that you keep your CV looking as it should do for when you graduate. This is the work experience module I was talking about, the academic and career skills. So after the master's programme, then there are the interviews, then there's the work placement. And these are the kind of companies we work with as a university. Again, we are particularly strong on this because we're the University of the Professions, but you can ask any university that you're interested in studying with which organisations they work with, which companies they work with, and what backgrounds their lecturers have. So all of these companies are either companies we work with on training graduates or are where our tutors come from, their employment background. Okay, so I'm just going to show you these. Okay, Martine's picture comes in last for some reason. These are students who took the academic and career skills process. 2 of them were given permanent jobs afterwards. The 3rd, Martine didn't want one. She wanted to go back to her home country. But there's been a good success rate of people doing the internships and then getting full-time employment in the UK. Okay, I've spoken to you about employability while you're studying and how that should be integrated into a programme. I've spoken to you about kind of work experience you can get on internships, but then there's also voluntary work you can get. I don't know if anyone in this room is studying law or is interested in studying law. Okay, excellent, we have some lawyers at the back. So I'm sure you know what pro bono is, but for the benefit of everyone else, I'll just explain quickly. Pro bono is voluntary work given by lawyers who are not yet qualified, as well as qualified lawyers, for people who can't afford legal representation. All students doing pro bono are fully supervised, but it's a good opportunity to get experience working with clients in the UK legal sector. We work on something like 40 different projects in the UK for pro bono. These are some of those we do in London. They could be anything from housing advice for people who are about to lose their house, to children who've been excluded unfairly from school whose parents need representation, and various other projects. Again, the 10 career-ready skills go into that. I've just had the 5-minute sign flashed to me, so I'm going to stop there. Thank you very much for your time and ask if there are any questions. Thank you.